shit is popping, girl. Body on 10, damn, you got it, girl. You gotta boss up. Getting them checks, living your best. Racks up. Keep walking with confidence. Effortlessly, you let them know who is in command. You just that and more. Don't forget it. God worked hard on you for sure. Lexus, Exodus. Shout out to my exes.
Y'all black females out here, y'all don't understand the struggles of being a black man out here in America and not knowing whether or not you gonna make it home to your children every night because of the police gunning you down.
But don't y'all be out here gunning each other down?
Okay, but we ain't talking about that.
Hell, don't y'all be rapping about killing each other in music?
We ain't talking about that either. We can talk about killing each other in rap music, but we don't like the police killing us. Stay on subject, woman.
You brought up your kids. Tyrone, you don't even see your kids.
And then, yeah, I be trying to see my kids. You know my baby mamas be tripping because I don't want to be with none of them, so they be holding my kids from me. You know that.
Okay, but your baby mama saying you don't give them no child support either.
Okay, but I still be going out my way to try to see them.
They live 5 minutes from my house, Tyrone.
That is out my way, woman. See, y'all, that's why we don't like y'all black women's mouths. Y'all run y'all mouth too much. Y'all always bringing up stuff that's irrelevant.
Well, was you cheating on me irrelevant?
I only cheated on you 10 times. You act like I do it every day, bruh. See, that's why we date women of other races, man.
Hey, boos, hey. It is Lexus Exodus, leader of the Black Women Exodus. How are y'all doing? And like always, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Please share. Please comment in the comment section. Let me know that you're listening. Also, if you enjoy listening to my content on the go, the show is now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for audio listeners. Go check out my Patreon community where you can get access to bonus episodes and exclusive content and also a private community of like-minded divested women. You can find all of this information in the description below. This is another installment of my series called the Blackistan Zoo, where we profile the dusty derelicts, crazy creatures, and animals in Blackistan. Yeah. So the internet has been going ablaze about this Eboni K Williams situation, y'all. And if you've been living under a rock, successful, accomplished, intelligent, finance attorney, Eboni K Williams, who also happens to be the first cast member that was a Black woman of Real Housewives of New York and a former Fox News correspondent, did an interview with mammy Ayandas Vanzant. Eboni interviewed with the chick from Ayandas Fucked My Life Up. She had asked her for advice on dating and what she's doing wrong because she's still single. So Eboni is a lawyer that has never been married. I believe she's in her 40s. So she asked Ayandas for advice. And we know Ayandas is much older. She's supposed to be a source of wisdom and guidance. And y'all know how people like to peg Black women as being stubborn. We supposedly masculine, don't want to listen to nobody. Well, Eboni was very receptive and very open to the conversation and wanted to hear this quote unquote elder's advice on how to find a husband. And Ayanda's dumbass response was for her to get a bus driver, y'all. And then it just proceeded to go to hell from there. Since then, Blackistan has been sharing the most problematic advice to Black women, condemning Black women, lecturing us, telling us our standards are too high, and that this multi-millionaire, educated lawyer should be settling for a bus driver. Child. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the gaslighting and shaming that Eboni and other Black women experience for simply establishing standards and being choosy and establishing expectations for the men that they date. And we also want to talk about how this is terrible advice to date a bus driver in her situation. And we'll go through the real life implications that will occur if you do make the mistake of dating down and settling. Child, so let's start off by looking at the conversation that initiated all this bull crap. Then we'll go from there.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. if he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself.
Child, and after this response, Ebony got dragged, y'all. And so she had to address the criticism and the backlash.
Out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
And instead of coming to her soror's defense, her fellow AKA sister's defense, Ayandas threw her under the bus and continued to instigate this mess by drawing this out.
To all of the bus drivers, the UPS drivers, the FedEx drivers, to the sanitation workers and the EMS technicians and the postal workers, to the truck drivers who bring the milk that my great-grandson drinks and the bread that I love, to the supermarkets, to the plumbers and the electricians, and yes, to even some of the Uber drivers. I would date you. I want you to be real clear. I would date you, and I thank you for being the heartbeat of this country. I really do. And yes, I'm a lawyer. And yes, I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a law degree, and an Emmy. I've been on the New York Times bestsellers list several times for some of the 19 titles that I've authored. And to you, beloved blue-collar, hard-working men out there, I would date you in a hot Mississippi minute. If, and here are my conditions, okay? If you're good to your mother, and if you are in good relationship with the God of your understanding, And if you take care of or have taken care of all of the children you've sired, and if you treat me well, yeah, I would date you, because I believe those are good ingredients. And if you have good ingredients, you can make a great meal. Together, grow together, build together, evolve together, create together with good ingredients. And those things that I mentioned, I believe all of those are good ingredients.
Child, I can't. What a mess. And I don't even know where to start with this. There's so much to unpack, but I guess we can start with people's reaction to this. The visceral reaction that we saw to Eboni simply establishing standards for herself. This is that Blackistan gaslighting and mental gymnastics that happens all too commonly with Black women. Eboni was not wrong in anything that she said. Point blank. Ayanla asked a multi-million-dollar earning celebrity attorney with a whole law degree and who also is a regular on your favorite television shows, along with being a former Fox News correspondent, if she would date a bus driver. And just for some additional context here, I Googled Eboni's net worth, and it says she's worth $3 million. And that's just according to Google. I bet it's more. But let's use that number as a frame of reference here to add more context and color. The average bus driver makes $25,000 to $45,000 a year, y'all. So it would make absolutely no sense, even if the man owned the damn bus, for a woman of Eboni's caliber to date a damn bus driver. It wouldn't. That's it. It's not up for debate. They're not in her league. And we'll talk about why it's actually very harmful and detrimental and actually dangerous for women to date down, especially Black women. But before we get there, let's just talk about how problematic and backward this narrative is that Ayanla is spreading. So Eboni K Williams is the perfect package, flat out. I don't care what nobody say. Even if she wasn't an attorney or a millionaire, she's freaking drop dead gorgeous. And this is by anybody's standards. This is by European standards, Afrocentric standards, globally. Eboni is objectively considered very beautiful. Like, she hit the genetic lottery here because she looks like a damn beauty pageant queen. I think she actually did compete in pageants. And women who look like her off the rip have access to millionaires and billionaires simply because they're gorgeous. So off the rip, a bus driver is not going to be a viable option that she considers, because based off looks alone, she could easily have her pick of the litter. And she could easily be some wealthy man's trophy wife if she wanted to. Beautiful women don't date below average men. Okay? And I think we need to stop calling dudes who make $50,000 a year average. That's not even average for a man. That's lower middle class. And depending on how many children he has, that's considered poverty level. Remember years ago, Barack Obama even saying, if you make less than $60,000 a year, then you're struggling, you're not okay. And that was, I think, back in, when was he president? Maybe 2012, 2010. That's what I mean. Like, what the F I'm going to do with a man that makes $50,000 in 2023? And I am nowhere near Eboni's level, y'all. That's just me being honest. But as someone who makes an attorney's salary in the biotech field, that's totally unacceptable for a woman who makes a decent living to date a bus driver. And on top of that, Eboni is brilliant. She's highly educated and she's loaded. She's a multimillionaire. So what sense would it make for her to date a damn bus driver? And as far as I'm concerned, Eboni wouldn't be wrong if she said that she only dated billionaires at this point, because she is the perfect package. She's wealthy. She has beauty and brains. She should be a billionaire's wife. And here's my thing. Black women should not date down like Ayanla's proposing. I go a step further and say, don't even date your quote unquote equal Black women. I propose that women should always date up, always date hypergamously, and always date strategically. And the reason why is women add more value than the man to a relationship and to a marriage. We talk about this all the time. Studies show that marriage lengthens the lives of men and it shortens the lives of women. And that's because we're natural nurturers. So we're taking care of everybody, the children and our husband. We're making sure that the men eat well. We're making sure that they keep their doctor's appointments, that they're being active, drinking water. Then on top of that, we bear the brunt primarily of raising and rearing the children, while oftentimes still working outside of the home. We give up our bodies for childbirth. We risk our lives during labor and delivery. We talk about how the maternal mortality rate for Black women is astronomically high. For that very reason alone, women should always be dating and marrying up, because we naturally sacrifice and have more at risk and bring more to a marriage than men do, flat out. And again, we'll unpack that more later. Let's talk about Ayanda's mammy ass. She's so problematic, y'all. And I don't watch her. I am not a fan. But I've heard people who do follow her say that she's normally like this with Black women. So she'll handle the dudes on her show with kid gloves, giving them doll babies and ish. Remember, she gave that man who had like 50 million kids, she gave him like 50 doll babies. Like, how about you call a thing and just tell this bum ass dude to get a vasectomy, to stop effing and making these kids that he can't take care of, child. But she'll handle them with care. But then we'll turn around and call Black women gutter snipes and all type of crazy ish like that. She loves to berate and degrade Black women in this manner. But this is normal for a lot of boomer Black women. And of course, we know that there are some who are evolved and elevated in their thinking. A lot of you all follow me. But a lot of Black women internalize the misogynoir and self-hatred that happens within the Black community and project that on other Black women. If you love bus drivers so much, Ayanda, why don't you date the nigga? So, I can't with this. Like, why are you giving this problematic advice to somebody else? You date him then, girl. So these Dusties is mad, and Ayanda mad, talking about Ebony's being elitist. She's talking down on blue-collar workers. She thinks she's better than them. She is better, y'all. And I used to struggle with not wanting to be labeled elitist and classist, especially on my platform, but F it. F it. I'm going to start embracing it. Because Black women who work diligently, long and hard, and pour our blood, sweat, and tears getting our credentials and career out the mud should not be expected to date the help, y'all. We should not be expected to date service workers. We are not the same. I don't give a F. Call me classist. Call me elitist. I don't care. Black women across the globe are the highest educated groups of people, are starting businesses at an exponential rate. Now Black women are even buying homes at an exponential rate. Okay, Black women who only make up 6% of the population attributed to 20% of home purchases last year, y'all. And Ebony will expound on this later. But that's my thing. We all grew up in the hood. And several of us grew up in single parent households, and we grew up in poverty, and we experienced adversity. But we were able somehow to navigate a system that is not only racist, but is also patriarchy without the help of anybody. So call me classist if you want. I've earned the right to be so. Child, all the accomplishments I've made based off the circumstances that I've had to endure. Blackistan is the only racial group who is so delusional. They don't understand the concept of class and social status and different social groups. Y'all think a damn attorney is supposed to be interested in a bum off the street. Like, this is not a Tyler Perry movie where a millionaire businesswoman is swept off her feet by the damn janitor. That's delusional. To tell this woman with her intellect and her education and her financial status and credentials to date someone who works in damn public transportation. It's like, seriously, could y'all imagine white people telling Gloria Aldridge or Nancy Grace to date the Uber driver down the street? What Asian or white attorney gonna date somebody who drive a damn bus? But this is how simple and regressed and out of touch the Black community is. Y'all think just because she Black, you're entitled to have access to her. Just because they both Black don't mean it makes sense today. But these people normalize this warped ideology. Talking about she thinks she's better than them. I'm sorry, she is better. She's better than you, Nick Nog. And it boggles my mind how so many people struggle with these concepts. I remember coming across a video of a Hispanic lady saying that she went to school for pharmacy and now she's a practicing pharmacist, and she had to cut off a friend for randomly saying, oh, you think you better than everybody because of your career, because you're a pharmacist now. And I told that lady in her comments, like, sis, you a whole damn PharmD. You are better than us, me included. And this is the crazy part. These dudes are so triggered by Ebony saying she won't date them. And they always want to talk about how delusional Black women are when it comes to dating prospects. But Black women are very realistic about themselves. As a matter of fact, they're pessimists when it comes to dating. And they often date down all the time, especially in the name of Whack love. That's a problem. Y'all know how affirmed and confident I am in my success in education and credentials. I will gladly tell Eboni K Williams, who is such a brilliant, determined, and motivated Black woman that managed to overcome the struggles of racism and misogyny in a racist patriarchy, so much so that she finished a goddamn law degree and worked her way into being a billionaire. Eboni, you are better than us, child. That don't it don't, you know, if you're affirmed in your accomplishments and your success, that don't make you know never mind. You know, that's acknowledging and uplifting someone who's done well, very, very well in life. She's better than you. That's the difference, though. I'm confident and affirmed in my success. And I have no problem acknowledging this Black woman's success. And like most other Black women, I don't go around thinking I'm going to bump into Brad Pitt and marry him. Like, that would be the equivalent of these minimum wage making dudes thinking they're entitled to date a woman of Ebony's caliber. She is better than you, Nigga. And Black men are so low achieving and are so less than average and have all these lackluster accomplishments. They have this weak, frail, fragile male ego. They can't understand that. Okay, so she proceeded to be bashed and be berated to the point where these dudes start looking up her history, her financial status, talking about she has records of repossessions and things like that. So she had to go onto the Breakfast Club and did an interview to further explain her case.
You talked about women women earn more money than men.
And I talked about Black women buying more homes. We buy homes at single Black women are buying 20% of the market share of new real estate on the market. I know because I just closed last summer and it was a shit show in underwriting. That's another conversation.
They're graduating more. They're in college. Yeah.
I think I said it to you, Charlamagne, because Charlamagne, even you guys do so much work on the Breakfast Club about what? HBCUs. Yep. And I was devastated when my good friend Eugene Scott sent me a post, Washington Post article that said Black men are going to HBCUs 1 to 2. It's 2 to 1 for Black women graduating. So these are things we got to look at because you have daughters and you have daughters and some of y'all in here got daughters. And if they're going to want to partner and marry men and Black men at that, and they're going to want to build together, as you two cite your marriages as examples of, we gotta talk about how people can be equally yoked.
The words like bus drivers and everything.
This is what bothers me to make it seem like bus drivers only drive buses.
Why would you talk about bus drivers?
Because let's generalize.
We could talk bus drivers. We could talk police officers. We could talk MTA workers. We could talk all these different people that work at these quote unquote average jobs.
Everyday working class people.
Now this is my problem, right?
Yes.
Now you know I do real estate and I do these seminars all across the country, right? We get thousands of people. The majority of people that own homes and investment homes are your quote-unquote average workers, all your bus drivers, all your MTA workers. So they just don't drive buses. They have properties. I know a police officer that drives Ferraris because it's not from his police job. It's from the houses that he owned that he made off to the police job.
You sure it's not from the cocaine
I'm
he's stealing
1,000%. No,
Jesus Christ.
I'm 1,000%.
I'm playing. That's a joke.
He has more properties than you, me, and Charlamagne put together.
Joke.
That's who he is.
That's a joke.
But they take it serious. But I know these people that do it, and they put in hard work. So when you said I wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned his own bus, a lot of people felt it like, yo, that's disrespectful because just because I took a job, and a lot of people take those jobs for a couple of different reasons. One, the benefits, right? Sure. They know they can work for 20 years. After 20 years, they can retire and they still get their retirement and they still get their benefits. So after 20 years, they can. Most police officers, the same thing. They get their retirement, they can still carry their firearm, and they can still get their benefits. So I look at it as that's a great hustle. They work for 20 years. At the end of 20 years, let's say they start at 21. At 41, they done working the bus company, done being a police officer, done being MTA, and now they just making money on top of money. So it's value over values, right?
If Ayanla did not ask me, Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also had a real estate portfolio? Ayanla did not ask me. Hold on now. Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also has a litany of franchises? Because you and your wife just bought 5, right? Six crystals?
Yeah.
Crystal burgers. Okay. She didn't ask. That was not the framing of the question, Envy. Yep. Had that been the framing of the question, I would have said, Dr. Vanzant, where the f*** he at?
So real quick, date a man, you have to come with a resume to say all the properties that I own, or do you get to know that man and see what he's about? But then you came back and the next day people feel like you doubled down on what you said.
I don't feel like I did. I stood 10 toes down.
And what did you say
when you? I don't think that was standing
you,
down though. I think you completely took a different turn.
I agree.
That was.
I agree.
I actually thought it was tough to watch. And you know I love you, but
no, you know, but I feel you. But that has love ain't got nothing to do with it. Tina told us that. So go ahead. I want to hear the response.
Because to me, 10 toes down would have been like, yeah, this is the choice that I'm making. This is my preference. This is the type of man I want. What I watched were you talking about people as a whole. Right. And even white supremacy bringing up, calling saying average, like it to me, it felt like almost attack on the working class and the people that were in them comments more than it was the man you're looking for.
So respect these people.
I feel like you're changing the goalposts, right? What people were upset about was what you said, and everything that you said could absolutely positively be true. People were upset that they felt like that you were putting down the average person, quote unquote average job, and the person that was working the average job, that their what they do is not as good as what you do.
That's a projection, Envy. Envy, that's a projection. Because
I'll let you speak.
Go ahead,
Let me talk.
Go ahead,
please.
Envy. Yeah.
So when you start talking about all this, and I read the comments just like you did because I wanted to prepare myself when you came up here to understand what people were mad about and understand what people were upset about. So when you're talking about all this brother this and the black man this and the white supremacy this and this, that, and the other, that's all to the side of how you felt about that quote unquote average job, right? And I'll be honest with you, right? And one of the comments that I said, and maybe I'm not sure, right? The guy was like, you talk about all this about lifting a brother up and lifting this up and white supremacy and what you do for our people. And then the first thing the brother said was, but your fiance was white. And I'm sitting there like, how do you talk about how much you're uplifting and how much you're going for black people, but that's not necessarily what you're even looking for?
Well, first of all,
Paging Dr. Umar, damn.
Well, let's address it. And let's not skip a beat. So I would love to know how you, Envy, know what I'm looking for, because we never had the conversation.
I don't know. I'm telling you what people are saying on comments, what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there, because I feel for them, because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast Club. That's right. They keep me booked in shows.
Nobody is saying, okay, first of all, this is not about you booking shows.
I'm just telling you how I feel. So when you on the people that
first
ride
of all,
with me,
Envy, you're dead ass wrong for framing it as me. I think what you're saying right now is irresponsible. I think what you're saying is irresponsible.
Envy,
I think what you are framing right now in this moment is highly irresponsible. Because if you listen, I'm going to tell you. Because if you were to listen to all of the full Iyanla interview, the full sidebar, the full episode of Holding Court, nowhere in any of that commentary did I say a cross or negative word about the working class of Black America, of America broadly, or Black men. I'm going to get to the why was my fiance. Envy, let me finish this statement.
Do you know what people feel?
I'm going to get to.
Just because you didn't mean to hurt somebody, just because you didn't mean to affect somebody, doesn't mean you didn't hurt a community. I can say anything about somebody and be like, I didn't mean to hurt you. But if you hurt people, you hurt people. If people feel a way about you, they feel a way about you, because those people that you talked about are the people that buy your books, that listen to this show, and they're hurt.
Ebony, what about words like average, mediocrity, typical, and the bigotry of low expectations? I think those are the words that hurt the working class.
You can sit here and say, no, I didn't hurt nobody. You hurt people out there that buy your books and follow you and support you.
You asked me to be quiet. Y'all, please. Y'all asked me to be quiet. I listened to your full statement. I understand you have a feeling about it.
And now that you talked for 22 minutes, and I just spoke for 60 seconds.
She is here to talk to him.
I know, but I'm just saying, I just spoke for 60 seconds.
We got ours off already. Let Ebony talk.
I'm just returning what she said.
But
don't act like I didn't let her speak. She spoke for 22 minutes.
Go ahead, Ebony. Let her talk. Don't do that. Let her go. Go ahead.
I am not okay, and I don't think it's okay, that the vast majority of Black Americans, again, overpopulate, disproportionately occupy spaces that are not ideal, that make us vulnerable. I talked about the COVID, that make us vulnerable to death, disease, maternal health, all the things that y'all all talk about on this show every day. Now, if y'all are okay with the current positioning of Black America, that we are the lowest income, the lowest home ownership, the lowest educated group, then so be it. And let's just stop talking now and keep on going about our business. Envy, I'm not okay with it. So that is why I said what I said about addressing the bigotry of low expectations. It's the bigotry of low expectations is the reason why I have to submit that Black men are now going to HBCUs and college and generally at half the rate of Black girls and women. I don't think that's okay.
Shouldn't we address the system that put us in these positions?
We are addressing the system, but first we have to name it, Charlamagne.
I can't. They said Envy got beige rage. He crying piss color tears. He crying light skin tears and waffle color tears. I can't. This is the weirdest thing. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. So again, Envy and all these other dudes tried to shame Ebony, when in reality, she should have very high standards. She's done the work and poured the blood, sweat, and tears into having that option. She should be dating up. Again, I wouldn't be mad at her fine, rich, intelligent ass saying that she only dated billionaires at this point. Are y'all crazy? So again, I work in biotech making 6 figures with multiple degrees. You can't tell me I ain't the ish. Child, let me take my black ass to law school and be on multiple television shows globally. Nigga, you a bus driver. You not even worthy of breathing the same air as I do. You ain't even worth sniffing her dirty drawers. But Blackistan has this weird obsession with humbling successful black women and knocking us down a peg. But it's 2023 and we ain't going. And I'm glad that Eboni didn't back down. I mean, she said what she said, Nick Nah. No one cares about your mom and dad who was in working class. Your mother was foolish for marrying him, point blank. Because what she should have said is, I refuse to struggle with any man. I refuse to be impoverished with any man. Any dude who wants me to carry his children needs to have the provisions for me to properly be able to do so. She should have been smarter. She should have been strategic, and she should have practiced hypergamy and dated up. And here's my thing. Envy understands this, y'all. He understands this. This is why he got his wife sitting up pretty, rested, and stress-free in a mansion. And she on IG posting Bentleys and Hermes bags every other week that he buys for her. She don't work. Envy understands the value of the male being the breadwinner and provider. Broke boys don't deserve no envy. You know that. And you know that if you go broke, your wife would leave your stupid cheating ass. See, people play stupid on here. All whack men do is rap all day about broke niggas ain't ish and get on my level and I'm better than you. Envy, you know it. You a damn DJ. You play these songs all day. But as soon as successful black women establish standards and say that she doesn't want to be around people and men who don't meet where she's at financially, y'all start to drag her. Y'all attack her. It reminds me of a post of a whack dude saying, I don't know, it's just weird to me to see black women being treated well. You see that nonsense? This is how all them think. They so used to black women struggling and being ride or die and accepting any old thing. They get uncomfortable when they see black women thriving and striving and establishing standards. And you showed your slip, Envy, when you pointed out that she was engaged to a white man. That's why niggas is really mad. And from what I recall, she was engaged to a very wealthy Jewish man. It didn't end up working out, but Envy was clearly bothered by this. But Envy, your piss-colored ass identifies as black, but your wife ain't. She's not black. G ain't black. See what I mean? Like the gaslighting, the deflection, the mental gymnastics. And instead of saying she's right, I accept the challenge. To get high caliber women, I have to be a high caliber man. So I'm going to work on that. Y'all try to shame and argue her down and argue black women down and get us to lower our standards. Talking about she was with the white man. Envy, you are a white man. And your wife is a Hispanic woman. So miss me with that. And that's my thing. They'll really show their slip. I wish Eboni would have asked Envy, hey, you put your children in private school. You put your daughters in the best communities and the best circumstances for them. I'm sure they have fully funded college funds. If your daughters went to school to become attorneys, would you be okay if she came home and said, Dad, I'm about to marry my old bus driver? Would you be okay with that? See what I mean? This is all projection, your ego. Y'all know niggas. Y'all can't compete or compare. Once you do, you finally get a little coin, you date out. And you feel triggered because a woman like Eboni Williams has the option to do so as well. So black women, do not listen to these dudes. Do not date down. Don't date your equal. It's a privilege to be in your presence. And it's a privilege to have access to your femininity and your body and your love and your nurturing. Women make a house a home. You should be dating strategically. You should be dating up. Okay? So apparently Umar Johnson also had words about this. Child.
Eboni K Williams, well-spoken sister. She made some great points, but dear Eboni, that's not what you was talking, sweetheart. That's not what you was talking. You was on some talented 10th bullshit, and you tried to take it back to the community this morning, sister. See, we can't talk out both sides of our mouth. We can't talk out both sides of our mouth, sister. We can't talk out both sides of our mouth. I didn't disagree with much of what you said today, but that's not what you said the other day, sister. You was talking down to working class blacks. You are a bourgeoisie. You are a bourgeoisie feminist, and I hope to God you wasn't engaged to a white man, because I thought somebody said you was engaged to a white man. Eboni, I better not find out your ass was swimming in the milk. If I find out your ass was swimming in the milk, I'm going to lose a lot of respect for you, sister. Because what that tells me, if you were with a damn Neanderthal snow puppy, then you're telling me at the end of the day, you are trying to condemn black men to justify dating white. If you are an interracial dater, if you are a bunny hopper, then what you are telling me is your whole diatribe, your whole rant against black men driving the bus was a justification so you can date a white man. I hope that ain't the case. I hope that ain't. You spoke well today, my sister. You still didn't deal with collective work and responsibility, though. I still heard a lot of Eurocentric individualism. I still heard a lot of Eurocentric individualism. And I don't know where you've been getting your reports from, sweetheart, but we got 2 million Africans with college degrees unemployed. We got 2 million Africans with college degrees unemployed because you was doing a whole lot of pushing college. You was doing a whole lot of pushing college today, like it's some form of upward mobility. I'm sorry, Sister Eboni K Williams. College is not an opportunity for 21st century Africans. College is not an opportunity for 21st century Africans. It's putting us into debt to the banks, my sister Eboni K Williams. So where is your solution for collective group economics? I didn't hear none of that. All I heard was European, Eurocentric, pull yourself up by your bootstraps individualism. That's all the hell I heard this morning. I wish I was there. I wish I was there. I wish I was at the Breakfast Club today with Eboni K Williams. I had a few comments and questions for my sister. Oh, yes. No disrespect. I love my sister. I love my sister. Don't get me wrong now. And she said some good things today, but she departed from the original narrative she was pushing on our working class Africans the other day. She departed from her attack on black males with blue collar jobs. Eboni K Williams, do you know that you got plumbers who make more money than doctors? Eboni K Williams, do you know you got carpenters who make more money than surgeons? Eboni K Williams, do you know you got chefs who make more money than engineers? You got plumbers who make more money than architects. I think you got to go look at your census data, my sister. You got to go look at your census data, my sister. You got to go look at your census data a little bit better, because I heard a whole lot of Eurocentric, pull yourself up by your bootstraps individualism. I didn't hear a single group solution on that conversation today from Sister Eboni. I didn't hear a single group solution. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. No disrespect. I respect my sister. Very articulate, well-spoken, but I don't hear a lot of conscious energy coming from her. A lot of my middle-class, bougie black sisters, they on that individualism, Europeanism. Peace, Baba. I'm going to get with you in a minute. I saw a lot of European individualism, brothers and sisters. Where the group solutions at? Oh, just go to college and get yourself a job and save your money from your bus job and open up a business. Where the is the group solutions at, Eboni K? Are you related to Tasha K? Where the group solutions at?
I can't believe that people are still listening to Umar's crackhead coked out ass. Umar is clearly not okay. He done swindled the black community out of hundreds of thousands of dollars to build that all-boys school that he been talking about for years and ain't got nothing to show for it. All he got to show for it is a damn empty and operable warehouse. A trap house looking building with his air mattress in the corner on the floor. In any event, Umar is educated, right? Don't he supposedly has a doctorate? Allegedly. Ain't that why he go by Dr. Umar? So how is college not something that's important for black people when you got 6 damn degrees, damn dummy? Black dudes crack me up. And we talked about this in the private group about how the goalpost keeps changing with them. And my good sis Brooke made a brilliant point about how black women back in the day were critiqued for being prudes in the bedroom. So we collectively started to be more open about X and more affirmed in our bodies. Now we call 304s. They used to say our hair was nappy and ugly. So black women started wearing weaves and started getting relaxers. Now we called hair hats. They called us welfare queens and said we allowed public assistance to take them out the home. So we said bet and became the most highest educated groups of women in this country, started the most businesses. Now we're closing homes at an exponential rate. And now we bourgeoisie elitists. Child, I can't. I can't with this. And again, we have another whack man trying to shame Eboni for dating interracially. Meanwhile, he was just photographed with a Kool-Aid smile all up in Becky's face. I cannot. Black women, keep your standards. Don't listen to what they say. Don't date down. You need to be dating up. Okay? So now let's go on to explain exactly why it's not only problematic for Black women to date down, it's actually very dangerous because you're inadvertently jeopardizing your well-being emotionally, financially, and physically when you do this, Black women.
38.
That is the percentage of American wives who earn more than their husbands. Monopolabi joins us from our studios in New York. Hey, Mona.
Hi, Rachel.
Okay, so 38%. What does that mean? Who are these people? Are they working couples, both people employed?
No, actually, in 1 in 3 of those cases, the woman's only earning more because her husband isn't earning anything at all. So if you only look at marriages where both spouses are working, then actually you find that only 29% of women out-earn their husbands.
Okay, so what effect does this have on these marriages?
Well, there's some research. So in 2013, the University of Chicago Booth School of Business published a paper that looked at 4,000 married couples in America. It found that once a woman started to earn more than her husband, divorce rates increased. Surprisingly, though, this data showed that whether the wife earns a little bit more or a lot more doesn't actually make much of a difference. So the researchers concluded from that what really matters is the mere fact of a woman earning more.
Okay, so this seems crazy to me. I mean, so you're saying that when women earn more in a marriage, that's a reason that couples become unhappy and they get divorced?
I mean, there seems to be a correlation, right? So the researchers are kind of looking for theories that can explain that middle bit to see if there really is a causation thing here. So everyone knows that on average, or at least I think most people know, that American women spend more time on housework than men, about 44 minutes more every day. Mm-hmm. But here's the weird thing. The researchers found that the gap in housework got even larger when the woman was the primary earner.
So wait, so if the woman is earning a lot more money or just more money, she's doing even more housework?
The gap between how much she's doing versus how much the man is doing is even bigger.
Why?
So they kind of turn from data to theory, like sociological theory here. They think that the explanation for that extra housework is that a high-earning woman is trying to make sure that her husband doesn't feel threatened. The idea is basically that men might feel a bit emasculated by a woman that earns more than them. I'm kind of reluctant to make the same leap here because they didn't actually ask the men whether or not they feel threatened. But there's something else that's really weird here too. There's other research that suggests that when a woman out-earns her partner, it affects fidelity.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell me more.
There's a study from Cornell University that looked at data on young American couples. And actually, the good thing about this bit of research is that it included married and unmarried couples.
Okay.
But the findings are pretty depressing. So the author found that a man is more likely to cheat on his partner if he is more financially dependent on her. Huh. And men who are completely dependent on their girlfriends or wives are 5 times more likely to cheat than men who earn the same amount as their partners. And the explanation given here was basically the same as the housework thing. So it's basically about kind of men feeling like they need to conform to society's definitions of masculinity.
What about the women? Is there any research about how women might behave differently in this dynamic?
Yeah, so we know that earning more than your partner might be kind of stressful for a woman. So in 2013, researchers from Washington University and St. Louis studied data from 200,000 married couples in Denmark. And they found that when women were earning more than their husbands, they were more likely to use anti-anxiety medications and also more likely to suffer from insomnia. So we don't know whether some of these couples were kind of unhappy from the start, right? Maybe a high-earning woman is more likely to divorce simply because she can, because she has the financial independence to kind of walk away. So there's a lot of gaps basically in this information. But I think what the research does kind of point to is that economic realities are moving faster than societal norms. And by that, I'm not saying that like there's economic equality for men and women. That's just blatantly not the case. But it does look like progress is happening there faster than traditional gender norms seem to be changing.
Okay, so this post beautifully breaks down very eloquently why Black women should not date down. Hear that, ladies? So when you date down, it's statistically proven that you are more likely to get divorced. You're more likely to do more of the household work. You're more likely to suffer from anxiety and more likely to get cheated on, y'all. And this is not subjective. This is not based off of emotion. This is what the data is saying. This is based off logic. So Dusty's always want to talk about stats and what the CDC says. Let's talk about the statistics. This is what unbiased, objective researchers are showing. And let me tell you exactly why this happens. Like this woman said, men have very fragile, weak, frail egos. A man's only job is to protect, provide, and problem solve. And when you outperform them as a woman in any of those aspects, he feels emasculated. So much so that he's going to find a bum bit to find vindication in with other women. Y'all, ask Sherry Shepherd, ask Mary J. Blige, ask Kelly Clarkson. Hell, ask me. I remember dating a bum-ass loser before and got a little raise. And this dude was like, now I got to figure out how to make more money than you. And I'm like, what? Like, ain't we supposed to be a team? Like, why are you competing with me with your effeminate, weak bitch ass? Compete with other men, see? But he didn't see it like that. He had a weak, fragile ego. He even said one time, do you think you're smarter than me? Do you think I'm dumb? And I was smarter than him and more educated at that, but was just like, where is this coming from? But he did end up cheating because he was insecure, uneducated, and unattractive and had very low self-esteem. He wasn't a man. So he felt threatened by my upward trajectory. The fact that I was smarter than him, made more money than him, more educated than him, and had more intellectual capabilities. I was more of a man than he was. And that's the problem that Eboni's experiencing and that she's going to run into over and over again, like a lot of Black women experience. This is why you cannot date down. As ambitious and as intelligent and as successful Black women are, you need somebody to match your fly who's not going to be intimidated by that success. And you need to date up. Let's look at this next woman who gives more insight on why beautiful, successful women should never date down. So let's watch this and then we'll talk through.
Okay, I have a whole theory and belief system on this, but first of all, I just want to address that Garcelle in her book says she wasn't settling. She just thought he was the safe bet. And I was like, okay, what a nice way to say that you settled. Basically, I feel like men date career style. And by that, I mean like every woman they date becomes like another line on their resume. And so if you are him and you're dating her or even married to her, you aren't just like, wow, I'm so lucky. Out of nowhere, I got this gorgeous, incredible woman. You're like, okay, that was a promotion. And now this is my baseline. Like anywhere I go from here, I can get another promotion. Like men are never like grateful for the opportunity to play the game. They're just like, okay, what's next? Like, how do I level up from here? And that's why as a beautiful woman, you can't ever date down because then you become a forever reference on their resume. And another beautiful woman will look at your loser ex and be like, well, if she dated him, he must be something, right? So that's why you have to save other women and not date down.
That's a word, child. Like this woman said, men who are able to nab women out of their league, they are not grateful for the opportunity. They just assume that's what they're worth with their delusional asses. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, take me, for example, being educated, smart, and successful and cute. Dating men that were beneath me in the past, I assumed that they would be appreciative and would feel lucky. But they start to feel like that's the norm instead of understanding you just hit the lottery, dude. Kind of like when Donald Trump won the election, instead of understanding that that was an anomaly and that probably wouldn't happen again, he started to have this inflated ego and feel like he was worthy of the presidential title. When it's like, really, no, dum-dum, you just got lucky. That's how men are. And this is why you always date up. And like she said, instead of appreciating you and valuing you, you become the baseline. And suddenly, after dating women who are educated, pretty, and successful, they start to think their uneducated, unattractive, mediocre asses are in the same league as educated, beautiful, and successful women. And what makes it worse is you become a part of their resume, like she said. And man, that was an aha moment for me. That makes me cringe how many of my exes have photos with me on their social media profiles, old photos. And after I left them, I just know other women were like, oh, well, wow, he got this beautiful chick who was educated and successful. She saw something in him. So I guess I should too. I guess I should date him too. And then they just become the next in line on the roster to settle for his mom ass. Child. Here's another one.
I don't really care if this sounds mean. I can't respect a man who's done worse at life than me. How did you do worse in a system that was designed to help you do better? You got a head start. And you still did worse than me? Why would I respect you? Why would I let you fuck up my gene pool? You're clearly not good at this.
And there's no excuse, y'all. Y'all better stop making excuses for these men. How I'm making 6 figures, educated, beautiful, and more successful as a Black woman in a system that is racist and misogynistic. Child. In a system that was set up for you, like she said. So Black women got it twice as hard as double minorities, but still somehow managed to make it in a system that is prejudiced in a patriarchy. So what's your excuse? Man, y'all better not let these dudes shame and game you into dating down with this nonsense. Miss me with that bull-ish. You are a man, and I don't give a F if you red, white, blue, or yellow. As a man, you have a big leg up in this society, so you have no excuse not to have done well. Do not date down, ladies. Don't do it. Date up. You've been able to thrive, Black women, by being a double minority, dealing with racial biases, and also being a woman living in the patriarchy. You deal with adversity, poverty, you come from crime-ridden, underprivileged areas, yet you are still the highest educated, opening businesses at an exponential rate, closing on houses at an astronomical rate. Don't do all that work just to settle with a bum-ass dude who ain't on your level. Like the studies show, when women date down, you make yourself vulnerable. You do more of the housework, you're more likely to get cheated on, and more likely to be on anxiety meds, and more likely to get divorced. Someone else even said in my private group that studies show you're more likely to be victimized by domestic violence as well, because the man will feel emasculated and will constantly try to assert his power over you in whatever manner that he can. Don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. Don't let these men gaslight you and shame you into dating they bum asses. What should be happening is that should challenge them to do better for themselves. Don't do all that hard work just to settle for a bum-ass dude. Date up, ladies. All right, what's your thoughts about this situation and the backlash that Eboni is experiencing? Do you think Black women need to be more realistic in their experiences? Or do you think that Eboni has a point and Black women who have certain credentials should only date a certain caliber of men as well? Please chime in down below. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.
Even if you think I should, bitch, nigga, I don't give.
If y'all come across a red iPhone, can you please bring it to the sound stage? Red iPhone, appreciate it.